how with the help of these calcium and these calcium channels, how the muscle contraction is taking place. Okay, so now we'll see what is calcium channel blockers, means how our drug is going to act on these calcium channels. Okay, so that is the mechanism of action of calcium channel blockers. Okay, so actually we know from the muscle contraction that the calcium ion plays an important role, right? Okay, see, you take a cell, for today it is a cardiac cell or any vascular smooth muscles. What happens is, this is the cell membrane, the membrane, plasma membrane, and this is the cytosol and extracellular part. Okay, so the calcium ions enters the cell, and the extracellular calcium ions enter into the cell, and this calcium ions which is there in the cell brings the contraction of the muscles, right? So now, one second. So this calcium ion which is entering into the cell plays an important role in the contraction of muscles. Okay, so now our aim, our approach should be that something which we can do so that there is no entry of these calcium ions in the cell, means within the cell, means we can to some extent we can disrupt the contraction of muscles. So when we disrupt the contraction of the muscles, then the heart workload is reduced. Okay, means we can reduce the workload of the heart, thereby the consumption, oxygen requirement can be reduced. Okay, so that to some extent our aim will be achieved. Okay, so that is what is the should be our aim. So here what we are doing is calcium channel blockers, means, so we know that there out of so many calcium 4 calcium channels, our main is the L type of calcium channel, right? The L type calcium channel plays an important role in the entry of calcium into the cell and thereby muscle contraction. So if we concentrate on this L type calcium channel, somehow try and block this channel, so then very easily we can avoid the entry of calcium into the cell. So when the entry of calcium into the cardiac cells are reduced, so then we can bring about the reduction in the cardiac muscle contraction, means that we can disrupt the cardiac muscle contraction or the vascular smooth muscle contraction. So thereby we can achieve the treatment for our angina pectoris or hypertension or whatever it is. Okay, so this is about the this is what is our mechanism of calcium channel blockers, means that the mainly the L type of channels which are exclusively opens during the action potential is blocked, so that the calcium entry into the cell is reduced and there is no contraction of muscles taking place. Okay, and how it blocks, that is important. How this calcium channel acts on the calcium channel blockers act on this calcium channels. That is, it does not go and completely block the channel. These agents do not physically go and sit and near the gate and close the gate. No, it's not like that. What happens is, when the calcium channels is in the open form. So here one thing you should know that this is the calcium channel, right? So this calcium channel will be in 3 forms. One is the open state, another one is the inactivated state, and another one and the resting state. Open state, that is the open state, the calcium channel will be opened, and another one will be inactivated state, no entry will be taking place, and another one will be in the resting form. So these are the three states which this calcium channel can exist. So all these 3 channels exist in equilibrium, means if it is in open state, after some time it will go to the resting, after that resting it will become inactivated, then again it will come to open, resting, inactivated. So like that it continues, okay, in an equilibrium states. Okay, so our calcium channel acts when it is in the open form. That is when it is in the open state. So at that time, the calcium channel will act by so now that is the meaning of this entire paragraph. Okay, that is from the mechanism evident from the mechanism of muscle contraction, the calcium levels of the cellular levels of the free calcium ions plays an important role. So if we block the passage of these calcium ions from outside to the inside of the muscle cell, we can prevent the contraction of the muscles. So when we prevent the contraction of the muscles, the workload of the heart can be reduced, and thereby lower oxygen requirement, means demand will be reduced. Okay, so out of the 4 channels, the L type channel we are blocking. That is because it's a long lasting in nature, and it is also it's present in the cardiac as well as in the vascular smooth muscles. Okay, so how we are blocking is that calcium channel, these calcium channel blockers bind these calcium L type of channels, and thereby causing the antagonism. So what it does is, it does not physically, it will block, it will go and bind to the some site somewhere, some site of the calcium channel, that is when it is in the open state. So thereby we'll get the pharmacological effect. So what are they? When the calcium channel blockers goes and binds near the somewhere near the some sites, specific sites, so at that time what happened, there is a relaxation of arterial smooth muscles, decrease in the afterload of the on the heart, and also will get the coronary vasodilatory effect. Okay, so these are the because of this mechanism, the pharmacological effect seen on the cells, okay, is these 3 effects we can see. Okay, so this is about the calcium channel blockers mechanism of action. Okay, now anybody is waiting? Okay, now calcium channel blockers, we'll see. Actually in the classification only we have seen different kinds of calcium channel blockers, but still just to again to refresh, there are mainly broadly there are 3 types: phenylalkylamines, benzodiazepines, and benzothiazepines, not diazepines, sorry, benzothiazepines and dihydropyridines. Okay, now in phenylalkylamines, it is the drug is verapamil. Phenylalkylamines, the drug is verapamil. Okay, now coming to the structure. The structure of verapamil, why it is called, why it comes under phenylalkylamines means, you can see the structure phenylalkylamines is because the this what is it? It is having a phenyl group, main ring system, that is the phenyl ring system it is having, and also it is having the alkyl group and then amine. So that is why it comes under phenylalkyl amines. Okay, now coming to this functional group. The functional group which is present is the main is the nitrile group. So if we give the number 1 to this nitrile group, okay, so then we can name this structure as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this is the 5th carbon atom. So it is 5, this 5, okay, and 3,4 dimethoxyphenyl ethyl. 3,4 means 1, 2, 3, 4. So 3,4 dimethoxy phenyl ethyl, okay, ethyl, and methyl amino. This is methyl amino, and coming this side to 2nd carbon atom, it is in the 2nd carbon atom, it is again 3,4 dimethoxyphenyl, 2 isopropyl, this is isopropyl, velaronitril. Velaro means pentane, we can call it as pentane nitrile or velaronitril. It is basically it is a pentane. Okay, so it is pentane nitrile or velaronitril. So this is the structure of our verapamil. So coming to the verapamil drug, it was introduced in the year 1962 as a coronary vasodilator, and is one of the earliest calcium antagonists. 1962 means you can imagine the earliest calcium antagonist in the cardiovascular diseases. It is used in the treatment of angina pectoris, arrhythmias from ischemic myocardial syndromes, and also supraventricular arrhythmias. Okay. Now, adverse effects, it causes mainly nausea, constipation, and bradycardia is more common in this type of, in the verapamils compared to other calcium channel blockers. Okay. While edema, flushing, and headache are less common, whereas in the other calcium channel blockers it is more common, and it also causes hypotension and that is occasional, and tachycardia, which we see in dihydropyrimidines, the other class of calcium channel blockers. So that is absent here. In verapamil we don't see any tachycardias. Okay, so this is about verapamil. Now, next, coming to the next type of calcium channel blockers, that is benzothiazepines. Benzothiazepines. So, why we call it as benzothiazepines? Because it is having a benzene. Okay, benzene in the heterocyclic ring system. Sulfur is there, that is thia, and the nitrogen atom, that is aza. So, benzothiazepines ring system. Okay, so now in this benzothiazepine, coming to the structure, that is the example is only one example, that is diltiazem. The structure is you can easily remember by studying in this way. That is in the diltiazem structure, what we see is the main functional group, that is it is an ester, acetoxy group is there. Okay, so acetoxy group, okay, is given more prominent, and so if we see, this is benzothiazepines. Benzothiazepine, benzene, thia, and aza group. So in the heterocyclic ring system, so benzothiazepine, that is in the it will be called as 1,5-benzothiazepine. Why? Because thia is given number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At the 5th place, nitrogen, aza is given. So it is 1,5-benzothiazepines. Okay, so this is the ring system. Now, coming to this structure, it is 3 acetoxy, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. Now, this one, okay, dimethyl amino, ethyl, and 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3 dihydro. Here it is saturation. Okay, so it is 2, 3 dihydro, 2, that is 4-methoxyphenyl, 1, 2, 3, 4, methoxyphenyl. 2 in the second position, that is 4-methoxyphenyl, 1,5-benzothiazepine, 4 ones. Okay, so this is the structure of benzothiazepine, 1,5-benzothiazepine, that is the diltiazem. Okay, and this was developed as a cardiovascular agent to treat angina pectoris, and it was observed to dilate peripheral arteries and arterioles, exclusive vasodilatory agents. Okay, so this drug also increases the myocardial oxygen supply by relieving the coronary artery spasms, and reduces the myocardial oxygen demand by decreasing the heart rate and reducing the overload. Okay, diltiazem is mainly used in patients with variant angina. So adverse effects of diltiazem are comparatively milder, and the other profiles are similar to verapamil. Okay, then the next one is the dihydropyridines. The important one, that is the dihydropyridines. Okay, now the next part of calcium channel blockers is the dihydropyrimidines. See, in dihydropyrimidine is very important calcium channel blockers, because it is exclusively, it's a vasodilatory agent. Okay, it does not have any effect on the cardiac muscles, and it is only having effect, main effect is on the vascular smooth muscles, first point. And the second thing is this nifedipine. Okay, all the dihydropyridine, not only nifedipine, all this dihydropyridine comes under a group called as dihydropyridine derivatives. Okay, dihydropyridine derivatives means partially saturated pyridines. Okay, everything is a pyridine partially saturated, that is 1,4 point is saturated. So it is 1,4 dihydropyridines. It will be called as all the dihydropyridines will be under called under 1,4-dihydropyridines. 1 and 4 places it is partially saturated. Okay, now coming to the other important points you should remember, which is common for all the dihydropyridines. Okay, not only nifedipine, for all the dihydropyridines. Okay, so what are they? Very important. So in that way you can easily remember the structures. What are they? That is, so all the dihydropyridines are 1,4-dihydroderivatives. Okay, so pyridine. In that, in the position 2 and 6. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so in the place 2 and 6, there will be an alkyl group. Means a simple alkyl group should be there. So why it is necessary? This alkyl group is required for the what do you call, the duration of the actions. Okay, this alkyl group will be requiring, we need this for the duration of the action. And the next is the next position is this one, 3 and 5. In the third and the fifth place, there should be a carboxylic group with ester. Okay, ester group should be there. This is common in all the dihydropyridines. So in this way, you can easily remember the structure. And then in the fourth place, there should be an aromatic ring with a substitution of a strong electron withdrawing group, like nitro group or chloro group, etc. in the fourth place. Okay, aromatic ring with a strong electron withdrawing group. This electron withdrawing group should be there in the ortho group, in the meta group, or on both. It can be anywhere, either in the ortho position or in the meta position, or in both the position also it can be there. So if these 3 points, if you remember, then it is all the dihydropyridines, you can easily remember the structure. Okay, the first is the alkyl group, very simple alkyl group, which is necessary for the duration of action. And then is the carboxylic ester group. And then the thing is at the fourth position, the aromatic ring system with a strong electron withdrawing group in the ortho, meta, or in both the position. If these 3 points is there, then we can easily remember the dihydropyridine structures. Okay, now coming to the nifedipine. Nifedipine is 1,4-dihydro-2,6-dimethyl, means 1,4-dihydro-2,6-dimethyl, means the very simple alkyl group, that is methyl group, is there. And then the next, what is there? 4,2-nitrophenyl at the fourth position. Nitrophenyl is there, that is on the second position, nitro group, and phenyl, 2-nitrophenyl at the fourth place. And next you have 3,5-pyridine dicarboxylic acid dimethyl ester. Pyridine 3,5-dicarboxylic acid dimethyl, both the place methyl ester is there, dimethyl ester. This is the nifedipine. Okay, and nifedipine is a dihydropyridine derivatives that bears no structural resemblance to other calcium antagonists. Means if you see the other verapamil diltiazem, that has no way it is resembling the dihydropyridines. It's a completely a different class of calcium channel blockers. Okay, and as I told you, it consists of a central pyridine ring. To this position, 2 and 6 are substituted with the alkyl group, and in the which is important for the duration of the action. And position 3 and 5 are the carboxylic group, protected with an ester functional group. And depending upon the type of ester used at these sites, these agents can be distributed to various parts of the body. The ester group, the ester group present at these 2 places, 3 and 5, have an means it is important for the distribution to various parts of the body. These 2 for the duration of the action, and these 2 for the distribution at various parts of the body. And finally, at the position 4, there should be an aromatic substitution for electron withdrawing group at the ortho, meta, or on the both the position. So this nifedipine is a prototype of this class. Prototype means it's a basic version of dihydropyridine. This is the first generation dihydropyridine. So it's a basic version. And it is having a peripheral vasodilatory properties. It inhibits the voltage-dependent calcium channel in the vascular smooth muscle, but it has little or maybe no effect at all on the cardiac muscles, that is SA node, on the SA node or on the AV node. And so nifedipine is used in the treatment of vasospastic angina as well as on the classic angina pectoris. Okay. And because of it is having a vasodilatory properties, it is also used in the treatment of hypertension. Okay. The main adverse effects are the palpitation, flushing, ankle edema, hypotension, headache, drowsiness, and nausea. Okay, so this is about the nifedipine. And next is the felodipine. The felodipine also, again, it is the same, everything, all the three rules should be followed, but the rules should be followed. That is the methyl group and the ester group and the aromatic group with an electron withdrawing substitution. Okay, so in the first, same simple methyl group is there as same like nifedipine, whereas in the third and the fifth position, the ester, in one side there is a methyl ester, in another side there is an ethyl methyl ester is there. That is in the third place there is an ethyl methyl ester, whereas in the fifth place there is an, as usual, same methyl ester is there. Okay, and then the electron withdrawing group here is the chloro group, where it is present on the both the position. That is in the meta position as well as in the ortho position. That is a difference. These two difference is there for felodipine and the nifedipine. Okay. Now, it is more selective for the vascular smooth muscle than for the myocardial tissues. Okay. See, all the dihydropyridines. Okay, all the dihydropyridines will be exclusively acting on the vascular smooth muscles only, where they have very little effect on the cardiac muscles. Okay, myocardial cells, they have very little effect, but they have good effect on the vascular smooth muscle. So they are effective vasodilators. Okay, so the drug is used in the treatment of angina, mild to moderate essential hypertension. And felodipine, like most other dihydropyridines, they as usual, the high degree of protein binding is there, and the half-life ranging from 10 to 18 hours. Okay, and next is the nimodipine. Nimodipine, here also the same methyl group at the second and the fifth position. Second, and then you have the ester, difference in the ester group. Okay, so here the ester is the at the second, here in the third position, the ester is the 2-methoxy ethyl 1 methyl ethyl ester in the fifth place. Sorry, in the fourth place. Okay, and whereas the electron withdrawing group here is the nitro group, so it is nitrophenyl group is there in the fourth place. Okay, so this is the structure of our nimodipine. The change is only in the ester, that is the third and the fifth place. The type of ester, there is a change, and also the electron withdrawing group here, it is same as the nifedipine. Okay, and otherwise it is a calcium channel blockers. The only difference, nimodipine, remember nimodipine, it differs in that it dilates the cerebral blood vessel. This is important. Okay, it dilates the cerebral blood vessels more effectively than the other dihydropyridine derivatives. So that is why this nimodipine is exclusively used in the treatment of subarachnoid hemorrhage associated with some neurological deficits. And next is the amlodipine. So amlodipine, here the change, if you see, instead of alkyl, that is a methyl group at the second place, it is having a very high, very heavy alkyl group. Okay, that is 2-amino ethoxy methyl. 2-amino ethoxy methyl group is there on the second place. Okay, and then the at the fourth place, the electron withdrawing group is the chloro group. That is, so it is chlorophenyl derivative. Okay, so otherwise it is a methoxy group on the fifth place, and the simple methyl group on the sixth place. Okay, so this is the difference of amlodipine with the other dihydropyridines. Okay, so like most of the second generation dihydropyridines, it is a greater selectivity for, again, with vascular smooth muscles than the myocardial tissues. Amlodipine is used in the treatment of chronic stable angina in the management of mild to moderate essential hypertension. Amlodipine was approved as a combination product with olmesartan and angiotensin II receptor antagonists. Okay, for the treatment of hypertension. What is this angiotensin 2 receptor antagonist? We'll see later in the antihypertensive agents. Okay, and it is also used as a combination therapy with the atorvastatin for the management of high cholesterol and high blood pressure. So this amlodipine, apart from vasodilatory effect, it can also be used in the treatment of hypertension, and also is also having an treatment with the high cholesterol. Okay, and next is these are some of the exclusive calcium channel blockers. Okay, the three main the common three ones. Okay, dihydropyridines, benzodiazepines, and the first one phenylalkylamines. So next one is the miscellaneous, very means the simple miscellaneous agents, that is dihydropyridamole. Dihydropyridamole is actually it is a chronic. It is used in coronary and myocardial insufficiency. Rarely it is used, but mainly its biggest use is in the as an antithrombotic agent in the patients with prosthetic heart valves. As an antithrombotic agent in patients with prosthetic heart valves. Prosthetic heart valves means the artificial body parts, where the prosthetic thing is that artificial valves will be implanted in some patients. In those patients, to smoothen the blood flow, as an antithrombotic agent, we use dipyridamole. That is the exclusive use of this dipyridamole. Okay, and it is also a long-lasting vasodilator. Its vasodilation action is selective for the coronary system. It is also indicated in the long term of chronic angina pectoris. Okay, that is dipyridamole. And next one is the cyclandylate. Cyclandylate is a miscellaneous calcium channel blocker. It is obtained by condensation of mandelic acid with 3,3,35 tricyclohexanol. It is a direct acting smooth muscle relaxant used to dilate blood vessels generally. Okay, generally dilate smooth muscle relaxant and the dilating blood vessels, and it is used as a general vasodilatory agents. Okay, so this is about some of the calcium channel blockers which you have to study. And next is the uses. So we know any calcium channel blockers. Okay, we can just add the use as angina pectoris. Means not all the angina pectoris, that is in the classical as well as in the variant angina. All CCBs are effective in reducing the frequency and the severity of classical as well as variant angina, number one. And the second thing is hypertension. Hypertension, because they all are having vasodilatory effect, they are used in the hypertension. Okay, all the calcium channel blockers. And the next one is the cardiac arrhythmia. So this one you have to remember. Cardiac arrhythmias, only verapamil and diltiazem are effectively used in the treatment of various arrhythmias. Why? Because verapamil and diltiazem has an effect on the cardiac muscle cells as well as on the vascular smooth muscles. Okay, whereas the dihydropyridine, nifedipine, nimodipine, felodipine, they don't have any effect on the cardiac muscle cells. So they are not used in the treatment of arrhythmias. And then the next one is the hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. The negative inotropic action of the verapamil can have a beneficial effective effect on this condition. That is in the disease of cardiac muscle cells. Okay, disease of the cardiac muscles, cardiomyopathy, verapamil can give some beneficial effects. So these are all some of the cardiac effects of our calcium channel blockers. See, other effect, the non-cardiac effect, if you see, nifedipine is an alternative drug for the premature labor, and verapamil has been used to suppress nocturnal leg cramps. Nocturnal leg cramp is leg cramps in the night times. Okay, so these are some of the uses of our calcium channel blockers.